Hello, everybody, and welcome to F1 Down Under. My name's Heidi,
And I'm Matt.
and this is our race reaction to the Austrian Grand Prix. Well, things got spicy, let's say, in the Austrian Grand Prix.
To say the least, yes.
So let's start with the first lap. Pretty clean, apart from a couple of little things.
Yeah, everyone got off. Everyone got off the line. Headed into that first corner, got a little bit tight.
As it does.
Piastri and Leclerc having a little and kind of got sandwiched with a few
Yes.
in there.
That led to, unfortunately, Leclerc having to pit on lap one for a nose change, which is a long stop.
Yeah, and obviously it's a short lap in Austria, so it gives it quite a bad thing to happen.
Bad impact.
And then, Hamilton managed to sort of get past Sainz, but was off the track. So
Having to give the place back, but that was all sorted. No penalties in terms of that because they sorted it out within themselves. So it was, apart from that, good, clean lap.
yeah.
Everyone stayed on the track. Well, and those gravel traps seem to be kind of working around the key areas.
Yeah, definitely kept everybody online. I think there's only ended up being one penalty for track limits.
And that was Lando Norris. But that, I think, was due to the, battle with Max Verstappen right at the end of the race. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it was kind of the middle part of the race settled down a bit.
Yes.
There was a few of the pit stops coming in.
But the interesting thing, everyone was pretty much on the same strategy, two-stop strategy. The only difference was whether they went medium, hard, medium, or medium, hard, hard, depending on what tyres they had. And some cars were kinder on the tyres.
Yeah.
And some weren't.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the other thing that the pit stops did was add a couple more penalties, wasn't there? I mean,
Yes.
Hamilton and Albon crossing the line got penalties in the pits. Perez got one for speeding.
Speeding in the pit lane. But they're normal things that would happen in every race. And watching the pit and line, it's one of the hardest ones to enter because it's in the middle of the track.
Yeah.
And those pit entry ones are the driver's responsibility. So it's their fault in that respect. It's not, I caused a collision or I ran off the track. It's their fault, but we can't do it. So yeah, the pit stops were interesting, and then once the Haas pitted the last lap 10 and then created this 20-second gap between them and the front leaders. So that then created this knock-on effect of pitting, but this ranged from lap 15 to lap 20, these pit stops. But that was really interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's always plenty of pit stops in Austria, isn't there? So, and it seemed to come around quite quick as well because there's just lots of laps.
Yes, and especially around the second lap, lots of pit stops. I was especially seeing, it'll be good to pit when Lewis had this penalty hanging over his shoulder. Right, I was counting down how many drivers. I was like, right, you've got to pit back now, otherwise you'll be in front of Kevin Magnussen about this point, because that's about a 27 gap, about 30-second gap.
Yeah.
And that's about lap 50, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a really good race for the strategists are earning their money, like working out, again, the gaps, it's not like there are big gaps because of the way because it's small, short circuit.
It's about, I think, I know they kind of want to optimize the gap in terms of tyre warm preparation and stuff, but sometimes if you've got especially a penalty, it's about time.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hit traffic no matter what, I think, because it's so short.
Yeah, but if you're in those top runners, you don't want to really try and get caught behind someone who's going to be running for a long time.
So, especially like Magnussen had the whole field, the Hasses who did really well were holding up the rest of the field. So I think it was really important that they got like the Mercedes out in front of them, which they did. So, apart from that, There was one more penalty that came out of all this, was the battle between Joe Gagnon and Alonso, and they were battling down for 15th, 16th.
Yeah, I mean that's
But they were doing some hard racing, and I really enjoyed the racing. But unfortunately, Joe Gagnon got a rear end from Fernando Alonso.
yeah, and that, I mean it's one of those that's one of the things that I took away from the race really was just how poorly the Aston Martins were, over the last this race. They just were not really in it.
No, not at all. Even Lance Stroll, even Alonso.
The fact they finished in the end behind the Hasses, and we're sort of tangling with the Williams and the Saubers. It just kind of shows that they're struggling for something.
But on the complete opposite side of that, some amazing battles happening.
Yeah.
Was the Alpines going past Alonso?
Yeah, the Alpines did really well.
Amazing battles, one battling each other. Gasly did an amazing move going past Alonso and then his teammate. It was an amazing battle.
Yeah. There were some good overtakes outside of just, the normal places of turn 3 and turn 4. I thought Oscar did some amazing moves around the outside of the Ferrari. He took Sainz. Well, he took a couple of people around that turn 6 around the long left-hand bend, and he really putting it out there. And that's like definitely brave with that gravel on the outside. So,
and then we go into the end of the race, and that was the main battle where all this kind of panned out.
Yeah, I say the pit stop really, that last pit stop really dragged it out for Max, didn't he? They had a problem with his tyre.
Yeah.
And so he lost a big chunk of his lead, and Norris sort of thought, right, I'm going to have a go.
So they had 7 seconds, and then they pitted in the same lap. And then, unfortunately, due to this, they had 1 second, less than about second and a half to 1 second between them. And they just kept going at each other. It was a cat and mouse situation.
Yeah, and definitely.
I do agree what was said. That Max was weaving quite a bit, actually. I've never.
Yeah, he said technically he wasn't turning under braking because he wasn't braking, but it was in a braking zone. So even if you're not got your foot on the brake, you should probably still not be making those extra moves.
No.
Which he did.
Yes. You need to pick a line and stick to it.
Yeah.
Even if you just like weave just a tiny bit, even if you're not braking, like because some of the corners are kind of not a corner, you shouldn't be weaving that much.
No, he was definitely feeling the pressure.
Yeah,
that's for certain.
And then that led to Lando going off track, getting his penalty, and then and then it was cat and mouse. Lando went in front, had to give the place back because he went off the track.
But you could have argued as well, in one of those overtakes, Max went off and then didn't give the place back. Is that, so there's a whole range of stuff going on there. I wouldn't have liked to have been a steward, I don't think.
No, there were so many things that you think, oh, Max should have given the place back. I think one time I do think he should have given the place back.
Oh, yeah. No, he should have done.
And he didn't get a penalty for, but we're here now. We've got the results. We can't do anything about it. This is last year over.
I think it was just a bit of pressure, though, as well. I think there was not just pressure for Max. I think it goes into the team as well, because they could see that they were investigating Norris. Norris had the black and white flag, and that he was going, so it was likely he was going to get a penalty when he went off again. So you didn't need to do anything.
No, just drive, defend.
He could have let him pass and think, right, I'll just stay within 5 seconds of him. And protect your car.
Yeah. But no. But it made it more interesting for us, because then we got a puncture collision, puncher from Max and a puncher from Lando. That tyre looks awful from both of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I know I don't know whether Lando pushed it a little bit hard trying to get back to the pits, but that shredded that tyre, which just destroyed the bottom of his car. Max seemed to be a bit calmer, and his tyre didn't disintegrate. So
yeah,
that did allow him to restart and get to the pits and finish the race. Um, he did get a fast lap in because obviously they put the red tyres on.
But unfortunately, that went away because Fernando Alonso took it away from them.
Yeah, they had nothing to lose, did they? So Alonso came in with about two laps to go,
Yeah.
put the red tyres on, and yeah,
I've never
that was
seen that. Was genius by the Aston Martin team. I love it. That was so good. But that meant the Mercedes won the race.
yeah. I
And
mean,
I think if Oscar had a few more laps, he could have won it.
yeah, I mean, it was getting really tight, and I think though Oscar was carrying a little bit of damage
From the
from
wheel.
that first lap incident, which probably would have probably also made a bit of a difference. But that's fair play to George. He just stayed out of trouble and kept going, and that reminds me of a lot of Grand Prix I've seen in the past, where you end up winning
Winning just
because you're the
because,
person that stays out of trouble. So
yeah.
that's part of the game for me.
So obviously, Lando Norris got driver of the day, but who is your driver of the day?
I'm going for Oscar. Those couple of overtakes that he did round the outside to me were like fully deserved to get into
Yeah.
that second place. So yeah, he was it for me.
Mine is actually the Haas team of both Kevin Magnussen and Nick Hulkenberg, because I can't pick them because they were both incredible. Oscar would be one of them as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that they got points as well, it was amazing.
And what's your sort of biggest surprise?
Well, I think it's the Haas team.
Again, okay. Well, I mean, I'm still quite pleasantly surprised that the Mercedes are kind of creeping up. And the flip side of that is I'm surprised how Ferrari seem to be struggling. So I think those two teams are getting really quite close. So I think that's going to be interesting as we head into Silverstone.
Yeah, we will. So that's our race reaction. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.